So here's a few things about the Bible you can understand and learn. And might already know if you've ever talked to a Christian, which you have because there's armies of them trying to recruit and enlist people to fight the war to reclaim God's chosen land, aka dirt itself, wherever it may be. God has chosen dirt to give to one group who owns and controls everything. He's also chosen money to give to them, and buildings, and space lasers to burn down the planet and try to recruit scapegoats in those things. And oh, they gave them the power to control the Nazis, the KKK, the BLM, probably Mao Zedong. It's kind of like a nationalist movement, if you think about it, and there's probably several of those. There's Zelensky. But anyways, let's get into it without further ado. Now, what do we know already about religion? We know, what can we see looking at from distance? Well, it's people out on the street trying to recruit you. They're telling you that what's going to happen to you if you don't join their side, as some evil, invisible person is going to come torture you forever once you're dead. Once you're dead, although they do also make veiled threats that they'll be here upon this planet ready to get in the way. Okay. So there's an evil guy. There's an evil, invisible spirit on the planet. You know, I think I've been able to visually see everyone causing me problems. Which it's odd, because often they look a certain way. Very often. Although our lives might be different. I have a lot of the same people in my life. And they might only target specific people. If you're not doing anything of value or not of a bloodline that is known to do things, they're trying to invent cattle. So, all I know for sure is that I've watched them interfere with other people's lives repeatedly, and then I notice, oh, I've got the KKK deep in my life, and I'm not a fan of the KKK even. In fact, I've always called to exterminate groups like that. You know, they tell me someone's going around just killing people because they've just enslaved them and they had to free them and blah, 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 blah. And, I mean, on the outside, like, yeah, what they say is going on, like, it definitely. And I know some Nazis myself. They never told me anything intellectual. And, I mean, don't we all know Nazis? Like, do we know anyone who's not a Nazi? I think everyone I've ever met, and it could be because of these things, everyone I've ever met has discussed how we need to go kill brown people because they're on our land in the Middle East or wherever they're at. They're on our land. And pretty much, you know, summing it up. Passive aggressive, when you go north, apparently they had to change the doctrine to passive aggressive, or it could be that as they evolved from the Egyptians, they just figured out it worked better to do that overall in general, because it does. It works really good to go up to someone and be like, hey, I'm your friend, and then hang out with them for 10 years and be slowly poisoning them and bringing women into their life who are your people in order to kill off those people and take over their stuff. Zuckerberg is a good example. He's married into China, but I think Mao Zedong already married into China by killing the Chinese, because this is their pattern. You can see this right now. They openly call for the whole world to go and genocide certain areas in the Middle East so they can have the land. They call for every group upon the planet to go kill and steal land for them. And during that time, the only possibility of anyone who would even oppose that really would be the people on that land, because everyone else is worshiping one of their religions or anti-religions. Since I've arrived, they've introduced Satanism. Well, they introduced that a while back, but they had to roll it out. The rollout, you get the hype machine rolling, and then the product comes out. Depending on the product, really. Sometimes you want to surprise people, like New Ageism, it's just in the background, and then all of a sudden it's there during the right time to use it to brainwash people. Like if you start seeing weird stuff in 2020 and you're figuring out there's an alien race enslaving the planet, that alien race might want to try to convince you it's you. Like going as far as killing people when you say, if I'm God, these people will die. Because we do have, when I'm 18, them sending one of their people into my life to die, and someone set me up with $1 million in advance, and because I was to be blamed apparently for his death, and got the $1 million a few months in advance. I'm not sure the whole thing here, but stage show or actual fucking bad guys dying? I don't know. That's fair at all. Look how fake that stuff is. I mean, look at your TV. Have you ever seen anyone on that TV except for one bloodline? You've been deceived when they look a little bit different, like Obama, right? He's not one of them, is he? Except for he is. They like to hide behind this one word. Anyway, so let's get through what the Bible talks about. Well, the Bible is a story of a person who comes to earth, blah, 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 saves the people who are on the earth, chose them to rule the earth, and a bunch of limericks and stuff in between, veiled threats and stuff like that. Weird things. Kind of admissions, kind of not. Saying there's a creation here, but saying it's all living when it's pretty clear there's bots around us. So I think whoever's writing this Bible might have bots enslaving the living people upon the planet, because that's exactly what they're doing. So let's get into it. If religion is about worshiping, let's start somewhere else. Okay, so let's just go off the top of my head. I didn't organize that. Let's start with this. Let's just avoid that for a minute. Let's get into what religion is. Well, every religion on the earth is owned by one bloodline. That's what religion is. It's worship of one bloodline, one race. And whichever race has conquered and killed the most people upon the planet gets to have their religion, apparently. Apparently that's how it works. That's how the Italians did it. That's how the Catholics, who are the Italians, and Christians and Satanists and atheists, who are the Italians on TV, are doing it. That's how the Italians and the people that look like Italians in the special place you can't name do it. And that's how apparently the UK did it, who looks a lot like them. I mean, it's just on the path. That's how a lot of places did it. That's just the path north from Egypt going to the left. Now, they've colonized the entire planet, obviously, because the entire planet worships one race as gods. And that just doesn't make sense, that one race is... and they're trash, too. They're not even gods. They're Jeffrey Epstein. They're Bill Gates. They're Howard Stern. And of course, they got a few people saying they're good guys. Oh, Mel Gibson is on TV right now. And he looks related to them now, doesn't he? Wonder why he's allowed on TV and people who aren't related to them aren't. I wonder. Oh, he's promoting one of their 18 religions. Now, why do they need 18 religions and anti-religions? Could it be that everyone's wrong? Or could it be that only one group is right? Oh, Einstein is the true God. Satan is the true God. What if Muhammad was a true God? Interesting. You gotta have 18 religions and anti-religions. What do they use those for? Why is there so many of them? Well, it begins when you kill off people and rape their children and have children with them. You teach them your values. They taught me this stuff through their media, apparently. When they were the Italians, they would go around and they would kill the people, rape their women and children, and have children with them. And then they would blend the two religions. Now, if that were going on this earth, there wouldn't be just one religion. There would be a religion for each little province they conquered. So if that were correct, there would be thousands of religions. And I just said there's only 8, right? But there is. There is tons, tens of thousands of denominations. Probably not that many. There's not that many people out there, and they're lazy. And I think they're using an AI script probably to rewrite all this stuff. And they're a little too lazy to do work. I've watched them. I watched people in the government outsource their work to China. So, I mean, they literally have government information, and no, it's real. At least I don't think I'd work for the government and do that either. But if I own the government, if my people were the government, I don't think they'd care I was selling everything to China. That's weird because other people are always crying someone's selling out to China. Their media is saying that. So that means they're doing it and they want to control the opposition to it. That's what Satanism is about. That's why Anton LaVey, who wrote the Satanic Bible, runs guns for Israel, because he's a Christian nutbag. In his heart, he is Abrahamic supremacy. Of course, you wouldn't say you're Satan ever. You wouldn't steal the Bible from other people. There wouldn't be Muslims. There wouldn't be Christians, because it's not their religion. It's not their racial worship book. So what happens? We create something, and then when we colonize it, we blend the two together. That's where Santa comes from. They can't even come up with new words. They just changed the word Satan to Santa. And it still designates their enemies, which their book is literally like a manual for genocide of the Europeans. It calls it kill the pagans over and over. Pretty much that meant like everyone, but I guess people to the north actually worship some Zeus and Thor, and so that's what they say. I don't think they have their own history, because I've never heard them come out and be like, we're not the Americans. Those people aren't us. So because if Americans were Europeans, why do they look Middle Eastern? So you got to ask yourself that. And in their path of conquest, those symbols pretty much mean you're dead. It means if you're actually from that land, your ancestors were killed off. It's generally what racial groups do. They tell us this. They created the word racial supremacy thousands of years after people already had religion. They already had worshiping people who look like their fathers, worshiping, their selves and their cities and their nations and their families. They already had that. But Santa Clausism is paganism combined with Middle Eastern religion. So that means either you're currently a slave on your way to the cattle house to be slaughtered, or your parents probably already were thrown in there, or you're not actually from those lands, and you're everyone. Like, there seems to be a group out there who thinks God gave them all the land on the planet, and they tell us everyone else is that group, but like, they all look like them. So do you want me to blame invisible space aliens when I see like your mirror reflection? Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm going to be as dumb as these people. I mean, they must be dealing with some serious bots on this planet. It's really, the only reason I didn't talk about this before is because why? What's the point of it? It's like you're born knowing this stuff. Like, you're like, oh, yeah, freedom and democracy, and we aren't the KKK, that was someone else, and the only other thing is like they apparently hide who they are, and I'm not too sure how that works. Considering the KKK has their symbols all over the hospitals there, they could be abducting babies, and considering that's a pedophile, child rapist, drug dealing place, that's nothing. Abducting babies is nothing compared to mutilating and raping children. So they're far beyond that. That'd be just nothing. Abducting a child is far less than waging global wars to keep drug prices high so they can have their fancy palaces and mansions. And, like LA and stuff like that. Probably a lot of doctors out there, right? Probably, I'm going to assume that most people got hit out there weren't dumbasses, but if they were really rich people, that's because they had like 9 mansions, and they don't really care. They probably had to call all their friends and their parents and be like, oh, I lost one of my 9 mansions, oh my god. But yeah, and how fake does that look? Because it just looks fake. Can you even trust them? Bro, they just talked about Santa Claus on TV. You're going to believe it? They're showing you they have AI that can generate things that look better than Earth, better than humans. Why trust it if you haven't seen it? They just talked about Santa Claus. So this is a discussion of their mindset. See, from their mind comes these things. And one of the things I noticed is 2020, I decided. So 2020, I had already been shown enough to be like, oh shit, there's this group enslaving the planet. And they've been everyone I've ever known, for the most part. And the people I suspected had a small, minute, non-existent probability of not being them. I always had one of them beside them, kind of similar to me. And so I didn't have to review my life at all. I knew right away the people in my life weren't the people I wanted around me. I stayed to myself my whole life and didn't like people. I was raised around these people, and they're child rapists, they're child sacrificers. I mean, like, they mutilate them. It'd be better to sacrifice your child than rape it and enslave it. They enslave them, force them to work for free. Now, I think this could be what they do when they move into a new nation and they replace the people there. This could be what they do to the children of the people they're trying to kill off. And yeah, but the personality, I'm gonna assume they do it to themselves. And that one original cult, they supposedly do the child pedophilia stuff. I mean, I really doubt it teaches you to like men, but maybe it does. It teaches you it's acceptable, to be a child and have the Christians, the Satanists, the atheists, the Catholics, these pale skins with black hair and black eyes, generally, or the bug-eyed blondes. It helps them train males to be their sex dolls, and apparently they like white males, because they have different. They go after the women in the Middle East, so it kind of like trains you to. There's a few things I've noticed it does. It trains parents to be homosexual pedophiles, but if you're already part of a cult, a Nazi racial supremacist organization, then there's a good chance that you're part of that race, right? So it's just, I would assume, this is what they do to each other, because you really have to not have it together to follow a racial supremacist organization without some sort of direct threats from them. Which I guess this is about threatening people here, telling them that if you don't worship them and give them all your money, their enemy, Satan, who happens to be their twin brother in real life, is going to torture you forever after you die. After you die, of course. But in real life, they're just doing the same thing. His twin brother Satan's doing the exact same thing they are. Probably even less. They're probably raping less children. They just rolled Satanism out. They don't even have the pentagram on the hospitals yet. They don't have the pentagram on every street corner like they do. It's twin, the cross. And the crescent moon and sickle. Or what? Yeah, well, that one too, right? Karl Marx definitely didn't not look like a pedophile, right? Broccoli head. Broccoli, where the broccoli are? Very easy to see. Very easy to see once you know what you're. This right to be like, don't check of it. Real simple. Except for they come out and they create the opposition, and like the writer of the Satanic Bible just shaved his head because he's trying to convince people who already know that his family just came and genocided them with their racial supremacist organization. So that's what that's invented for. Now, further in the book, they invented a word called scapegoat, which is exactly what that is. The word scapegoat was introduced to the human race through the Bible, and the Bible itself has a few scapegoats in it. In my own experience, what one thing they're doing, and oddly, some of those people in the in Hollywood who also look like them and got arrested on the 4th, but are about to get let out by Trump. Which those people flattened my tires and came to talk to me about it all the way in Washington State, where I was just out for a few seconds. So that's set up too. And plus I was shown all sorts of documents on, like, a football plan. I was shown a football plan on the invasion of the Capitol and shit. They release that in the media, and that's They're releasing their caramel. Like they like to release little boys' caramels in their mouths and stuff and butts. But anyways, it invents the word scapegoat. And it's important to listen to the words someone's using when they're talking to you, because what they're doing is they're telling you everything they're going to do. They don't. I'm not too sure what goes on in a bot's brain, but I can tell you one thing: they can't have thoughts because they're sitting there fucking telling everything. Just like you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know that they were the Egyptians if they weren't going around using the pyramids still. You don't have to brag about that, dumbasses. That's the only reason I could even figure it out. I didn't even care. Fuck. Why would I even participate in this world? It's a bunch of fucking these terrorists running around enslaving and raping you, and like literally every time I have a girl come into my life, they're right there. Like they're dragging them beside me like they're bots or something they're trying to enslave me with or something. Or like it's their family members. And oh yeah, we definitely have them acting up. And we have them doing their patterns there too. But anyways, let's get back to scapegoat. We'll get on that later. The scapegoat thing, Satan is their scapegoat. Satan is their brother. The Christians are the one calling to kill the Middle Easterners. The Christians are the ones supporting slavery. The Christians are the KKK. And then they create all these oppositions to them. But then the Nazis, supposedly America's against them, but the Nazis go invent Israel. Supposedly the Nazis were against them, but the Nazis are them. Like, it's simple to see. You just look at it. There's one family who owns everything. They're the ones burning down L.A. They're the ones setting up to be the saviors. They're the ones exposing, because they're really going to expose themselves, right? They've been doing this for like thousands of years. Like, it's real simple. And apparently a lot of the humans aren't even real. And let's just assume that that's because they have evil bots on the planet enslaving the living, which this is who they are. They're just filth. They legalize and enforce child mutilation and touching the dingling. That's because, and the other areas on females in other nations, that's because this is who they are. It's not a ritual indoctrination. They didn't even invent it for your house. Little science freaks are worshiping the same stuff. This Einstein guy, he's a genocidal maniac, inventing bombs to go genocide and occupy Japan, and then create false narratives about how they're victims and they have to go and kill everyone, like they did in Germany, like they're doing in the Middle East, and like they're trying to do. Like they're still trying to blame Europeans, which they probably, it looks like they replaced. They didn't bring them over to America and allow them to run America or Hollywood. I don't see any of those in the presidency. I see a lot of those weird-looking, deformed people. I see a lot of people with wigs. All the founding fathers had wigs and were bald, and they were trying to cover up their faces and shit. Just like they do today with their females in order to sell their females, like Zsa Zsa Gabor and Madonna, and that one whore, Marilyn the Hoe. Right, fucking bitch. You're useless trash if the only reason you're even famous is because you're the first person to get on TV with an upskirt picture. But look where we are. We're in a place where trash is the law. Like, starts the second you're born with, if you're a man. And the women sit by and let that happen. They're the ones doing it. But I mean, again, when you colonize a place and replace the people, you want to make sure you get rid of that kid, or brutalize it into slavery. I suppose that, that's several things. That's a gang marking. It's an attempt to take feeling away from people, so they work instead of have sex. And they have rules for the master race, the master to the Christians and Satanists and atheists and blah 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 blah. The master they all worship openly and go kill and steal land for every continent, they say, not just one small area. The master has rules where they date to none of them and have children with them, and then they go back to their own people. So this is literally, the Bible is a blueprint for racial supremacy doctrine. It's the original one. Now the next ones, the following ones are people they've conquered and enslaved, and when their populations get out of hand, they force them to go to war against one another and kill each other off and things like that, to keep the numbers down. And there's only one thing I can think of why they would even keep everyone alive when they colonize them, and that's because you wouldn't want to have sex with Howard Stern, would you? So put yourself in their shoes, where you're looking at a future where, if your Nazi supremacist doctrine is about total cleansing and replacing, you're going to have to wake up in bed with Howard Stern snuggled up to you every night. Okay? Where's the gun store, you ask? Every morning for about 3 days till you get the fucking knowledge in your head that you're going to have to go through with this, or else it's over fucking for you too. You just enslaved you just thought you enslaved and conquered the world. And what you really did was you fucking killed yourself and shit, because that's the only thing I can think of. I mean, is there really an ego on the earth so dumb that you colonize people and that you want to steal their land, but you can't populate it with your own people? Alien race harvesting humans. Now, do they actually do any work? You guys ever noticed your fiends and lovers? If they're the people forcing you to, if you're one of the people they've chosen to be raped by and not allowed to have sex or relations with other people, if you're one of those people, have you ever actually met one who worked? I know I had one who took me to some truck thing. He's towing shit, but I mean, technically some stuff isn't work and stuff. If I was a demolition derby driver, it wouldn't be work. If I was a musician, it wouldn't be work. I mean, what am I? Targeted because I was winning awards for writing when I was a kid. Is that what I am? That's what I'm going to have to assume, because these are the other stories I get told about these people, is that they're going around targeting everyone. And then you have Cat Williams talking about stuff like that too. About they drugged his children. And it's oh yeah, if you're Cat Williams and you're not related to them, then you're gone too far. And plus it looks like they've only used these people for a short time to step up on higher branches themselves. Like the BLM itself, there's no B running the BLM. That was all, the Nazis and the KKK running that stuff. So the people who run that The people running the BLM look like Hitler and Goebbels. Okay? So, take it how you want. They just dress differently. And they look like other modern dictators and Nazi leaders like Zelensky. And well, now, technically, some of those people down there towards the center of the map, they don't look the same as the people over here. Some of the people over here look more Middle Eastern than some of the ones in the Middle East. Like, some of the white people and shit. Like, Howard Stern looks more Middle Eastern than some of those fuckers like Netanyahu. I mean, he's got that Jabba the Hutt face that seems to be common with, like, Weinstein, but he doesn't have, like, that Middle Eastern look, really, that Weinstein has. So, again, there's probably like 7 phenotypes of each group, and no one's willing to talk about whether we're actually dealing with shapeshifters or not. And we wouldn't be able to trust them because they're writing these books telling you their invisible enemy is going to kill you, when in fact they control that racial group and use it to worship them again, like they do all the other religions and anti-religions I can look into. So they've invented this word scapegoat in here. And now in my life, I have people follow me around trying to call me God. And these are people like teleporting across the map and stuff. These are people, something around me is setting up things to where things appear everywhere. And if I post a video saying, oh, if I'm God, this will happen. Or if I say a couple words, it might happen. Those things might happen. And then there's always something else involved, like, I mean, is there anyone else even on this planet, or am I, like, purposely being targeted by one bloodline to not be allowed to be around anyone else? I mean, that does look like part of it, but it's like, I don't even know. Well, I've met some people who I think were different, but then again, the ones who I could have guessed might have been the furthest away just by their looks, they've chimed in when these things happen. So it's like, it seems pretty well on point, and they all talk about the same things and buy into the same stuff. So I don't think you would do that if you're not part of that. There's no reason for me to worship the KKK because I don't consider myself the same people as the KKK. There's no reason for me to go to war in the Middle East or in Ukraine because I'm not a Ukrainian. I'm not a Middle Easterner. There's no reason for me to go to war in America because I'm not like these people. We're not going to get along. Fucking, if there's a war here, I'm not part of it because they're in a war with me, and I'm going to join the other fucking side. I'm already looking for a way to fucking join Russia, except for that's a joke because they carried the cross too, and they were colonized. So, and they've openly worshipped them, and I mean, I don't know what happened with RT, but I mean, if you just carry the Nazi symbol, or and refuse to pay attention to the extremely obvious, easy to point out facts, then that means you are one of them. Like, no living being is going to just keep like, but the KKK gave me 50 cents and stuff for joining their side and stuff. I mean, we're going to be so good friends and stuff. They're going to give me $1 tomorrow, too. It's going to be so great. And then they're going to kill me like they did my parents and everyone that was part of my family. No. I don't think anyone would have a thought like that, because that's where that thought ends. About 5 thoughts later is, and then they're going to kill me like they do everyone else, and they did my parents. You especially don't wake up one day and realize like they're the ones in the way, fucking forcing you to have sex with them, bringing you people who you're incompatible with, probably because it's their people and they don't want you around anyone else. Whatever the reason is, they target certain people. I can assume it's because I win awards from the president, that the president probably fucking himself calls up the KKK in Israel and be like, yeah, we got a person here who can think. You guys got to get rid of this person. That or the school, I mean, something. I mean, they are the presidents, so I got chosen. I'm the chosen one. I got chosen by the president to be fucking drugged. I always said it's the schools and my parents who worship that. There was only one parent, the one who worshipped it and looked like them. The other one worked for the Epsteins and shit. Selling out's just as bad. What selling out will lead to is them sending a woman, or not selling out, but selling out's still going to lead to them sending a woman into your life to destroy you. Because if you get high enough to be able to be of service to them, then you are a threat and should be exterminated. Cows are supposed to graze and then walk into a meat house. Humans are supposed to... Cows are basically like lawn mowers. So humans are supposed to mow lawns. And then... they got the system worked out where people think they're free. But then they take all their money to the churches and the hospitals and the government. And, And it's... You're paying NASA a tax to be able to be his slave, pretty much. And they didn't even introduce the police until the blacks were freed here. That's when they had to introduce police. Until then, there was no government needed. There was no taxation without representation. But the timing there looks weird. Like they just decided, if we free them and tell them they're free, and then tell them to worship as gods and give us all their money, then maybe that'll work. I don't know. I had one of them asking me the other day, like, about slavery, like why are they free if they're supposed to be slaves? I guess he didn't get the memo that none are more enslaved than those who think they are free but are truly not. So, anyways, the book seems to be... So my experience with people, I'm concerned that there's a group here setting things up on the planet. And they are trying to recruit characters to play out their fantasies. So they've already recruited all the Americans, and they killed off the Americans and then they replaced them. So who knows who they've recruited? Well, they've already recruited a lot of themselves in other nations. Again, I suppose that the lower Bible cults and anti-cults are only people they've colonized, because they used to talk about how they did that back when they ruled the world from Italy, and before they moved on to UK, and after they had moved up a few places from Egypt. So they so in the book it's set up that they're like, oh, there's going to be a person coming tricking the world that they're a god, and then the real god's going to come out, like as if the alien shapeshifters aren't already all over the planet and enslaving everyone for thousands of years. So they could just shift into this form. I think, right? Like, because how I'm really summoning, creating new humans when I'm summoning replicas of people. I mean, there's a hell of a lot of weird stuff going on, but let's look at who has all the money and whose racial supremacist organization runs the world. Well, it's them. Who controls the world? You don't have to go digging through mausoleums and graves looking for some ancient manuscript to find the secret to the universe. You just gotta look at the people who are telling you it and ask about them and where they come from. And because if people are talking to you and telling you stuff, there's probably a good reason for that. Like people at the time to magically appear outside and proselytize all day. Especially, like, pay attention to the people who show up coincidentally. It's called coincident because the Coens are making an incident. So that is why they call it that. Okay, so when those coincidents happen, would I be correct if I assume that coincidents either were things you didn't get to see happen but were in place, or they involved people who look like the Coens? Because in my instances, they're coincidences. So generally when something looks like a coincident, the Coens are involved in the incident. So it's real simple to see there. If you just read the story and stay neutral, they have it. Yeah, maybe this is more like my slant because what I see going on around me and what people talk to me about. That's why I ask, do I even have a choice? Like, I feel like things have been set up for a long time. Obviously, I have people forcing their way into my life. I have people killing themselves in front of me to try to blame me, and people give me millions of dollars before that happens to protect myself from it. In this story here, there's so you pretty much got people going around blackmailing the world. And it starts with threats that it's not threats. They love you and they care for you. And they come in peace. Every land they're on had a recent incident, where the natives left in pieces and went to heaven. God bless their soul. They're finally in a good place now, aren't they? After 80 years of slavery on earth, you finally get to go and enjoy your time. Just work real hard, lick people's feet. They've specifically told me, pretty much. And they pointed out whose feet to lick. Pale people, black, dark hair, dark eyes, who support one or another form of a racial supremacy organization and or toe line. So, and again, the original Bible is about bloodlines, and it's about killing off other bloodlines. It's supposedly about slaves who escaped from Egypt, but you know, after I mean, they're using the pyramid over here in USA, so it's like they're not slaves, but each Cohen incident that happened around the world, they were always slaves. They were slaves in Germany, so Germany invaded Palestine to give them parts of Palestine. Right? And that way they could stop enslaving them, because Germany was good and was really good enslavers. You know, for Nazis, they were pretty good people. They went and built houses far, far away for the. I don't think they actually built houses, but they paved the land. You know, they cleared the land and gave people free rides out of there. So, and a lot of people like to think this is all set up as like a storyline. So, let's look at it that way. You do have all these groups involved. You have the pyramid people are trying to make the Bible happen. That's what the Bible people tell us. And the Bible people are just not telling you that the same people using the pyramid as their symbol are them. They worship America, but you know, protect its new lands, its new the 55th state, the 200th state, you know, the 199th state. Protect them all. Protect the one in specific. I'm not sure the value of that. Because it makes you it's probably because it makes you focus on the pity story. Where the pity story is, we was slaves. We was slaves. And then we enslaved the earth and said, we was slaves, but then we became the people who own everything on the planet. Everywhere. And we was those people too. We replaced those people, and now we was those people. You know, we was the slaves in Egypt. We was the rulers in special places with the overprivilegedness of not being able to be mentioned in the Middle East. And then we was Europeans. We was Russians. We was Ukrainians, aka Khazarians. We was all that. We was Germans. We was Canadians. We was Americans. And now we was Mexicans. But was we always? Because at the church down there, Pillar Pond, tons of corpses. And, that's just not the way Christians would think. You know, like if you were actually to follow, let's ignore what we want to when we want to and move on. And a book that has every word and the opposite of it written a few chapters later, you can pull anything at any time you want, really. And a book where it tells you their enemy, who it just happens to be their brother and their best friend working with them to fund them, is evil and going to torture you if you don't worship them, then, I mean, that's just low. But not as low as fondling all newborns at birth and mutilating them too. Like, that's even lower. Like, I don't have much is lower on the planet than mutilating children for, like, yeah, and they're busy blaming everyone else for it. And the only thing I can see is they're doing it. So, I've never seen anyone who wasn't part of their octopus of racial supremacy discuss the need to mutilate or touch children. So I wouldn't think they would. You know, I have a lot of people in my life. Like I said, we have them. We got people I was trying to talk to. They came by and like wouldn't let us talk or dance or anything. So I don't really know, but I suppose as scared as they are of me interacting with other people, that other people don't act like this. And I mean, I can always just be like, oh, they just don't look like that, and they got no chance, so they have to, rape their way into your life. But I don't, I don't think so. I mean, the book's it's about a bloodline conquering the earth. So, yeah, and they keep having to invent all these slimy things to, like when they invented the term racial supremacy. That was like 6,000 years after they invented racial supremacy, and then they use it as a scapegoat, which comes from what? It comes from the book of racial supremacy. So, the word scapegoat in its definition, it's like a dictionary in that one thing. It provided the definition of the word. And how you do it? You find a goat and you say, bad goat, I can't believe you're raping all the children. You kick it out of town, kind of like they did with Jeffrey Epstein, when all the other Jeffrey Epsteins and everyone else is out in the corner raping. Every corner there's one of the hospitals, the child rape drug dealing centers. I mean, they kind of got everything cornered on the planet. You can't really get a job or go anywhere without them. I mean, I know Satanists who I was shown the bloodline of, and I'm pretty sure those names were not their names. They don't care. They're working with those people that now they might also be dating one, because that person was sent to my life before. But previous one I know was one of them for sure. Like before that caught on and everything. I think everyone I knew was one of them. And that seems to be like a slow thing, but it's an obvious thing. You invent the word Satan in case someone ever opposes you, and then they are Satan. If someone opposes raping children, they are Satan. If someone opposes mutilating children, they are Satan. But at the same time, the book says kill the people who mutilate and do that to children. Sacrifice children. The only thing I can sort out there is don't kill the children, because we won't have slaves, and we can't keep raping people if they're all dead. We can't keep raping kids if we sacrifice them now, can we? And probably the best kids to be able to get your hands on are kids of broken homes, who would probably be the most easy people to sacrifice their children. Abortion. You get an abortion when when you shouldn't be having kids, and you can't afford them. Actually, I think probably a lot of people who don't know where kids from are having kids, and I know one person who I'm pretty sure planned out having kids, and I heard from one girl that she told me that her boyfriend was like forcing her to get pregnant, so she would stay with him. But I mean, hey, that's really your fault. You should tell those people to get out of your life, and I wouldn't say call the cops. Just shoot them yourself or something. That's pretty trashy. You're a female. You can get away with shooting rapists. They're not gonna, no matter what color your skin is, they're not. I don't think they're gonna come down hard on you. Now, if you're a man and you have one of their women raping their way into your life, good luck with that, because you're not allowed to say no to them. Look at the book. Look what happens to anyone who says no to them. Gaddafi. Gaddafi actually says yes. You might want to be really careful saying yes, because notice how many Christians actually get far. Like they're having to put one or two on TV, and Mel Gibson is making a Passion of Christ and all that, and I mean, but no one else is making money off it. The other Christians are not. You're not Joel Osteen. You're not going to be driving a Ferrari because you go give them 10% of your money. You don't get further ahead than anyone who doesn't spend time giving their money and their blood and stuff to them. But a lot of other people still go to war for them, right? But it seems to be if you like get close to the root, if you figure out that they're from the pyramid, then that's when things happen. But obviously, they start targeting people who sell out to them as well. And I guess in my case, they start targeting people who just know about them in general. That's probably what it is. Kobe Bryant, he dies, and they use the pyramid in the cartoon showing you how he's going to die before he dies. That's just what happens. He knew. Like, those people knew. I don't know how much they know, but they must have known a lot, because you can see Kobe and LeBron jumping up and down, doing gang signs and stuff before shows, like they're trying to attract attention or advertise the brand, or it looks like they're trying to figure out what's going on and how it's happening. I do that too. Like, they don't really, like, because they're all being all super obvious and shit. And, I was playing with it for a long time myself to see, like, how that happens. And it's like, well, go ahead. You give me a call when you figure out what technology is like that, if they had computers 6,000 years ago and androids and starting to enslave the human race 6,000 years ago, you give me a call when you got some idea what they have today, 6,000 years after they introduced fucking probably first model androids, because some of the things I've been read and shown, not that I can trust any of it, but says that they don't really know what they're doing, which would be really the best thing. But then again, that's in their book too, that they're trying to recreate the creation and stuff. So, was it ever not their book? It doesn't matter. They have it today. So, of course, it's telling you to go worship this race. The subsects of it, okay, and Satanism and atheism, they don't have to tell you to do it. You just do it. You just do it. You turn on your TV and they're there, and you go around talking about them. You go around talking about Einstein, like Christians go around talking about Jesus, and you go around talking about Satan, like Muslims go around talking about Muhammad. And we know, and you wouldn't even plagiarize the Bible, but the atheists and even the Scientology, I mean, science, atheism, blah, 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 it's the same thing. It's basically like a cult, but what solidifies it as the same as a religion the most is the fact that you worship the same people as gods that religion worships as gods. Religion doesn't worship invisible people in the sky. No, they don't just throw their money in the air and expect some invisible person to come collect it. Carl Sagan, someone who looks like Einstein, someone who looks like Carl Sagan, someone who looks like Donald Trump's family, someone who looks like Barack Obama's mom, comes around with the collection plate. And if you begin to understand that, they'll sit there in church and talk to you about it. And threats and blackmail. They'll be in church threatening and blackmailing you. Like I said, I got some after they tried to kill me, acting like they're in a wheelchair, coming up to me and threatening me and stuff. With their usual pansy ass. You know what? I'm really scared to say this out loud, so I gotta hide it in some sort of parables and limericks. But we're gonna kill you if you don't worship us. And, and pansy words. As only a pansy can. I can't, I can come up with a lot of stuff on the fly, but it's hard for me to come up with what these people come up with. I usually have to sit down and think about that when designing possible counter methods, to people raping their way into your life, forcing you your entire life to date and have sex with people who are probably not anywhere close to what should be there, and probably for very nefarious purposes. Do you think that you guys really think when they brought over the Africans that they went over there and the African leaders sold all the Africans as slaves? They said, oh, they were already doing it over there. They're already doing it where? In the Middle East. In Africa. Who's doing it? Was it the people who used the pyramid? Oh. Was it the people who follow the Bible? Oh. Interesting. So their argument. Now, you're not even arguing with Europeans when you're arguing with Nazis, apparently. I did know someone who I thought, but he also dropped some words that definitely, he's like, there's only 7 of us. And it's like, oh, you're not really from Germany, are you? But he does look like one of the people allowed on TV, one of those types. So I might assume like people think about Donald Trump. He must be from Sweden because he's got a blonde wig on. Not even, just like you think about Barack, he must be from West Africa because he's got black skin. Yeah. Not all of his parents look like they're from West Africa. None of all Trump's children look like they're from Greenland or Sweden. But they do all have family members who look related to Rothschild at that. So I guess you got to say Rothschild, but it feels like that's still like part of the game, because every group, like, okay, so the Bible will tell you Satan is enemy, and the Satan will tell you the Christian is enemy, and people always go around on Satan on the heavy metal videos and be like, oh, why are they always talking about Christians and stuff? Because there'd be a lot of Christians, considering that was for the colonized people to the north of the Middle East. And it was a bastardization of Christianity, of the Bible, and of paganism wrapped into one there. So that's really what it is. Paganism and the Bible mix. It's not paganism and Christianity mix. It's paganism in the Bible, because Christianity is Christianity. So always differentiate. I notice the arguments always. I mean, you have this thing you can't say on this planet, and that itself might be related to this word scapegoat that gets invented in this book that they have. Again, the whole we was slaves in the Middle East, or in Egypt. That's Africa. My bad, my ignorance. I'm from America. You'll have to forgive me. So I have no idea what planet Africa is on. So. That could be related to the word scapegoat as well. I think there's a lot going on there. I get worried sometimes they're trying to recruit people to play out roles to be their little scapegoat. Like, the story of Jesus sounds very familiar to a lot of stuff I've lived through. I'm not sure if they come up to everyone who looks like me or what, but, I mean, there's a lot of people who look like me, but some of us have long hair, so. And the odd thing is, my uncle said some little things, and I didn't know anything, so I wasn't like, why don't you, like, elaborate on You could have asked a lot of people that, but my uncle, my one uncle was what I look like more because generally because he had long hair. I look like my brother and my father, um, and half the freaking Christians out there, to be honest. I look like freaking the poster child for Abraham with my hair back and stuff, and similar to the posters of Jesus with it down. So I always find that odd. I'm not sure if they're targeting people get out of hand, but it seems like they, with the story written, I have to question like, the choices available here. Do I even have a choice? Am I being set up to be just one person? I don't think so because the story's written that if, okay, so let's say these people are setting people up and trying to stage events across the world, like John Schaefer of Iced Earth, who invaded the Capitol, did say in some of his songs, and it does appear to be a questionable thing. He talked about in his music, them staging plagues, and yeah, this is right before the plague. Actually, he introduced that. People think it has a connection, but there's just so many songs about so many things that you can't. It's like the Simpsons thing. Simpsons say everything in the freaking world, and a lot of times those videos are lying about what they're saying. But I'm not going to lie to you about this. Hold on. Okay, so sorry, dry mouth. Being too stupid to bring water over here. Anyway, so it feels like they're setting stuff up, and John Schaefer of Ice Earth himself said that. And look how set up and fake that is. He gets thrown up in jail, and then they send a president to release him, and they all act like they're on different sides, but it's the same family. Democrats and Republicans are very similar to Satanists and Christians and atheists. And the fact that at the top there, they all look related. So, looks like they're scapegoating things there. They definitely live by those words. They go and the odd thing is I'm not sure if they're rewriting it or what, but the Bible used to say that they're going to try to take that land and then they're going to fucking get erased for it, and they won't get that land back till after that. The Bible used to say that, and I had I had a person who looked Abrahamic bloodline telling me it doesn't say that, and it's like, well, maybe your preacher isn't teaching that. Maybe the new version has edited it. I know we can just look up the new version and I can show you important edits where they've removed words, and so that's it. I mean, looks like they own everything, right? They own people's minds. They own KKK, and then they own the media to be able to tell you they're not the KKK, and then they own the left and the right to be able to blame each other for the KKK. So you're just like, it doesn't matter who you choose. Like, do you want to worship Einstein or Anton LaVey or Jesus or... I mean, you're not really worshiping Jesus, right? You're going to a church. None of these things you're worshiping God. You're always going to meet someone who is possibly able to look like one of this peoples, one of the Rothschild. So that's my experience. You meet them constantly, as if there's a whole bunch for every living being to work together to separate you from other people. Because that's what we caught them doing in 2020, and I was already suspecting that. They're coming around me, asking me, strangers who look like them are coming up to me, be like, you don't really like black people, do you? Like, because they just got caught. Like, they didn't say it like they cared with remorse. They're just like, you don't like black people. And it's like, well, I like them more than people like you. And they know that. Like, if they're that far that I can be 2,000 miles away from where I've lived my entire life, and I just got there in like a matter of, 30, 40 hours, then um, they're already there. I travel around the corner and they're already there. Well, the reason why they're like, you don't really like black people, do you? It's like, yeah, well, I really don't like you. Like, I mean, even if I didn't like them, like, people win by default. Good people win by default. You ever see a fat dude with a hot bitch? Um, he's probably like licking her feet clean and is feeding her potato chips and stuff. He wins because you won't lick her feet clean and feed her potato chips. She probably loses. Her kids will turn out, whatever. But that's how people get into your life too. You don't want is they do stuff like that. Like I've heard about that story all the time. I never understood it. People would be like, "Oh, I didn't like him at first, but then after a few months, he grew on to me." It's like I kind of like I don't know. I never set like certain regulations, and the ones I did set, no one cared about. So sooner or later, we have to test this theory why everyone in my life looks the same, and then those people start all along they're telling me how nasty everyone else on the planet is, and obviously they're using their racial supremacist books to tell everyone that they're the greatest thing on the planet. So that must be who they think isn't nasty and doesn't need killed is themselves. The people who need all the money and land, obviously, would be the opposite of the people who aren't nasty, I guess. I do know that whenever anyone shows up with someone else by their side, or as their friend or whatever, if they look like those people who I don't want to see anymore, then we do know I don't like them more than I don't like other people. So, we're on Earth. It's not like we have a choice. I've pretty much always somehow known this. It's like, like I didn't realize, like, I kind of did realize, like, hey, everyone I try to talk to is they're disconnecting me from them. And then I test the special overprivileged people, and they're right there separating me from other people who are showing interest in me, and those other people did show interest in me. So some of them I think were there for manipulative purpose. Like one took me to church, and like they were trying to groom me to worship some race, to join the KKK. I actually had Nazis in my life, almost like they're trying to groom me to worship Hitler. They didn't say anything about you, but I was taught educational things, but none of those people really said anything about you. And focus on that. It was always kind of like weird. But I was definitely taught back then that they were coming into people's lives. I watched like that happen to musicians, and that's all I know for sure. So they might have came into that person's life as well. But I know for me, like I always have this group here, and so anyway, the scapegoat thing in the Bible, they have this set up. So okay, so let's say that there was some group out there enslaving some planet, and they're trying to set up an elaborate hoax. And let's say they're really bad people. Like just they're going around like burning down cities so they can get their beach back. And for all the rich people, like in LA now, the beach is going to be open. And they're talking about, well, they got their bots online on their Google they own saying things like, well, that's a good thing. Because the beach are for the people. Well, who are the people who will go, who live in that area? Beverly Hills is closer than Compton, pretty sure. It's called the Palisades. The King, the Prince of England, just moved there. Mel Gibson, he had 4 air conditioners in his house there. So all the people in those areas were rich. And so now rich people surrounding those areas will have a beach. So it's, you know, one might want to view that. And they have their bots online talking about that stuff. So yeah, I don't think that's normal people. Normal humans are usually crying and whining and milking it. This is what's going on in the world. They're the eternal victims. They've been milking this Bible for thousands of years, 6,000 years. They've been the slaves of Egypt, and then they're the slaves of Germany, and then they're the slaves in the Middle East right now. They're the oppressed people. They're the oppressed Ukrainians now. And I think they're saying they're oppressed in America because, like, I don't know any people I don't think are them. So when they say white people is being oppressed in America, I think they're talking about those Middle Eastern people with pale skin who always talk about white people and control everything here. Yeah, so they do that with like everything. It's literally like, you know, we're tracking an animal here. It has habits. It can't think out. It can't move outside its patterns. It doesn't have the ability to change. Like, I guess some animals could change, supposedly. I had a cat who was like loving, or several of them, probably all of mine. You don't really see that. Weirdly human acting and stuff. Especially the one, weirdly human acting. I didn't see that like in other things, but I mean, it's still like a cat, right? I could still follow it, and its basic instinct probably would have been to fucking swipe me if I came at it and shit one day. Fucking, even though it wasn't really introduced to that, it's introduced to play talk now. But anyways, so they have this written up that a person's going to come and a person's going to claim to be God. And so what we have is some alien race on the planet enslaving the world, saying that a God has chosen to enslave the world. And at most they worship something called an AI, called the One Eye. So does that play a role? We're talking about the Bible here, so we're not talking about its predecessor, or its, is it the correct word there? The previous iteration of religion when they started using the pyramid, because they still use the pyramid during the last 2,000 years. So they started using that first. Then they started using the Bible, apparently. And then they obviously created all those other delusional things. It's delusional, it's them. I think that's one of those things they use to hunt people down, is if you're smart enough to outthink them, they're going to kill you and your family. unless families are just, one-off. Sometimes a genius is born or something, but it really doesn't take a genius to see that there's no Santa Claus. But you wouldn't want people even with that ability to exist, because then they would see that there is no God except for this alien race upon the planet, enslaving everyone, because they are the ones here controlling, enslaving everyone. There's no God on this planet asking for people's money and telling them to worship them in the name of the KKK. So that's a fact. There's never, if there were, you wouldn't need worship, you wouldn't need the KKK. You could just kill people, right? If you're a god, you can just kill people. Now this is to tell people to work for them. This isn't to kill them. To kill them is when you colonize them and give them the option to work for you, or Satan will kill you in a few seconds. So the story here, we have this guy comes and blah 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 blah. He's a bad guy, and then the new guy the real guy hasn't shown up yet. But what this does is this allows for a scapegoat in place as well, where if they try to recruit the wrong person and someone manipulates their way into the government, like people would think Donald Trump is, who are lying manipulators, because I've met the leaders of some of these groups who know that anyone who looks like Donald Trump's family is the enemy. Yeah, they don't care. They're working with them. Like, who invented the term that all white people were working together? Probably all of them at this point, but I don't know. In USA, I don't see any Europeans. I see these Middle Easterners like Howard Stern for the most part. And they are like, raping their way into our lives and preventing us from being around other people. So that might have something to do with it. But there are definitely bots and stuff. And I'm not sure the level of the bots, but obviously they're using them to enslave the living beings here. So other than that, I wouldn't be able to know about them, because unless there was some other reason. But that is like seems to be the main theme with what's going on this planet. Is you're here and you're enslaved. You're being forced to have sex with people you don't like. You're being forced to talk to people you don't like. You're being forced to be around people you don't like. You're being fucking drugged by them. You're being raped by them. You're being fucking mutilated by them. They're forcing you to worship them. They're forcing you to do everything they do. Very low intellectual, lazy, do nothing on the average, on the majority of them. One or two people talk to me about doing things, but it's like it has nothing to do with what I want to do anyway. So mostly the people sitting in my life want to do drugs. I've had them come and force me to use drugs. So that makes sense looking back from that, realizing that once I finally said no to drugs, their race literally will try to kill you and shit. They'll throw all your clothing away and shit. And if you're homeless, if you don't do drugs with them, I mean, this is the type of trash that writes Bibles. Those are the people who wrote the original Bible. That's the master race. So that's where that comes from. That's where all these sick stories come from. It's someone who looks like Howard Stern, a 90-pound person, 90-pound punk bitch fucking trying to convince the world to worship them as gods and give them all their children's penises and genitals and let them rule over them as gods. They want to be worshipped because I guess that probably comes from, I guess they're their boyfriend, I mean their brother, their father, Freud, that pedophile who talked about fucking sex with his mom, that dude, which is, that's a little old for these people, but hey, it's still not, animals, their parents, toddlers. That's there. Fucking definitely. I mean, just watch the replay of my life, and you'll see what. Unless other people are lying about raping animals and shit, you could get that feeling from some people who weren't telling you that as well. But some people talked about it. You got that feeling. I would get that feeling more from some people than the people who talk to me about fucking, killing or having sex with animals and shit. So, um, it wasn't surprising though, because I just kind of figure things. But, anyways, fucking, yep. You have the Jesus guy. He comes, the fake Jesus. So what happens is that if we have some group enslaving the planet, which we do, they're trying to set up things. They're trying to find a scapegoat. You gotta realize when the humans speak, they're only saying the words they know. So when they're trying to write a book explaining the blueprint for a scapegoat, they would accidentally let the word scapegoat slip, even if they weren't releasing their caramel, because they seem to come up to you and tell you what's going on. And then they'd be like, "That's my karma," and then I gotta go to work. And they go disappear and reappear in front of you 2,000 miles away and stuff. They did a lot of work there, huh? Okay, and they teleported straight across the map to the workplace. And, hold on. Anyway, so when they come and talk to me, I just pretty much figure they're trying to set me up and shit, right? They're the people teleporting across the map. They're the people who own everything, control everything. They're the ones who come around smiling and smirking. They're the ones who have been like, they destroyed my teeth at the dentist over here. They've been drugging me repeatedly since a child. They're still out here today selling drugs. They're on the street corner selling drugs, and they're in the hospital selling drugs. They got Bo's Markets Corner. When I was a kid and I was making marijuana, guess who happened to be my fiends? Well, their people. And guess who happened to be the people who own the place too? Their people. Oddly, the warrant was unsigned when they came and took all my money and my stuff from me. I didn't have drugs, but they took my stuff from me, like my money my dad gave me to buy a bed. They came at the wrong time, because normally I'd have like a few joints or something. But I do suspect that it could be because this race has a monopoly on everything on the planet, and they're raping their way into my life, that they had a lot to do with that. They're just there. They're not there to be your family and friends. That's why they enslave you at birth. That's why you can't be part of the master religion to their race, because that's for purebreds only. That's not for the slave classes. And they're coming around. I know in my life, they either got one shapeshifter on me, or they've got a crew of like 50 plus thousands of people and stuff. And this is like escalated. Like at first it'd be like one every 4 years, and I try to like ditch people as fast as they come. So sometimes it would take like 4 years to get rid of someone. There's kind of no purpose for me to be around most people I've been around. I'm I'm a lot of things, but like I'm like a book nerd person, passed up like 4 grades and winning awards from the president. So I kind of gravitate towards people who are who can say things and have conversations, and I don't really talk. Normal people be like, "Oh, the weather and the sun," and I'd be like, "Yeah, did you see what happened today when I mixed that sulfuric acid with your face? Like it caused a chemical reaction. That was a cool chemical reaction, wasn't it? You know, something like that." And like literally, out of all the people they chose, they sent one person last time. I thought that was like government agent, but it's like they're all being brought in by people who look like this. Like pretty much they're standing beside them. And they're their guardian pedophiles. That's what I call them. You guys do have guardian pedophiles, as your book says. Satanists have them too, because it's the same damn people, and so do Buddhists. But are they over in the Middle East guardian? What are they guarding in the Middle East? They're guarding themselves. That's right. And who are you guarding in the Middle East? Them. So you're killing yourselves for your guardian angel. You're enslaving yourself. You're going to kill people for your guardian angel. Imagine the turnabout there. They were going to be there to protect you if you worship them and give them all your money. And they, well, I mean, come on, everyone would have known when they killed off the Europeans, when they killed off the Middle Easterners and replaced them with the Bible. Those children probably had remembered that, and all the ones left alive probably chose to sell out. Like everyone I know does, but then again, I don't know people who don't look like them. One or two females I might have thought wasn't them, but generally I was being taken away from them. When I was pretty sure it wasn't them, like if I met a black girl or if I met a Mexican girl, things happen, and then we caught them. I mean, I've been catching them for a long time doing that. I met some people who didn't look like them. It was the first metalhead who ever talked to me back. I think the other ones were being separated on purpose because we can see them doing that now. And we'd already suspected they were doing that because this is who their people are. Again, there's a million reasons for this. But one is we have a mental condition where we want to be gods. We want our entire race. We want the KKK to be the gods of the planet. And the vaginified version of the KKK at that. It's all the same thing, but vaginas win. Apparently, it works really well to go up to someone and say, "I love you. You're my daughter. I really love you." And the fact of the matter is, you fucking killed everyone who was friends of her parents. The one parent you didn't rape, the one parent you killed, So, seems to be the story that this goes into. They set things up there. So I get worried, they come to me running their mouths. Clearly the world is nothing I would want anything to do with. So I've been fed people over and over. I'm not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe of playing the role of their scapegoat to protect their race and shit. I'd like to point out the fact that they're the ones enslaving the planet, and them and everyone else working for them are the fucking reason Earth is trash, their existence, and they're the rapists, they're the child molesters. They've legalized that. It doesn't matter how many times they say they aren't it. they're doing it. They're part of those nations. They're doing it to their own kids, generally. They're part of those nations. They're working with those people. They're celebrating their pedophile Santa Claus Day. I don't want to hear any of the KKK excuses for sellouts. I watched the LA Fire, who is fucking. I mean, they're obviously both sides are sellouts, but because the same damn race is all over TV telling you about what to think on however you feel about it, and none of them are questioning why it looks so fake, why it looks like space lasers were sent down or pieces were invented, pixels were deleted out of a video game, and there wasn't no actual fire or anything. None of them are talking about that, which helps protect them. And the people they do have talking about something else, they're talking about the book of scapegoats here. And what they have as a story that if they went around and bought people off and they trusted someone to go far enough, let's say I wasn't me and I was a person who would sell out everyone else. Now, I wouldn't be selling out the humans who have allowed them, who and work with them to rape me, mutilate me since I was born, misdirect my life, insert people in my life I don't want around, and have no right being around me and no purpose, serve no fucking purpose. Like I met one person who was doing things I did, and they worked directly for them, kind of like my dad, except for I'm the opposite of that. I'm a person who works at the same. He probably works more than them, right? That's how you actually get there with them, is be a better worker, and then they target you, like sending a female to destroy your life. Uh, Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then they, after they did that to him, they also sent a maid to wreck his life. I'm sure that has to do with, they've done this so many times in my life. I can tell it's all set up by them. I mean, literally they can appear around the corner when you tell them to. So this is what we're dealing with here. Some sort of, the evil guys shifting through the matrix and stuff. That's who your gods are. All 2 billion of them, and you should have refused to give your money to those people. And you know what? God can accept. He doesn't really need money, but what God should request is you burn your money if you're going to worship Him with it, because He doesn't need it. He doesn't need no baked beans. He's not running low on baked beans. So he doesn't even need to eat. Like if he's God, he's smart enough to realize that that's kind of a trap there. That's a bit of slavery trap there to need to eat. It's like drugs and TV and everything else. It's definitely like drugs. Food is like the original drug. You ingest drugs the same way you ingest food. And it's unnecessary unless you're like actually trying to grow, which I think most people could probably grow a little less, maybe. So, I know I didn't eat. I don't remember eating most of my life, 1 meal a day, something like that. But anyways, that's I think that's like an original like slavery thing and stuff. They talk about that in the master religion, sitting like an effendi and eating. So eating is like it was seen as a sign of you're a important rich person if you can get fat back in the day. Now you're just an American. But who are the Americans? They're important fat people, aren't they? Who's important? What's those other nations' names? Damn, I forget. Oh, India and Asia, Russia and Africa, and South America. Huh. Took me a minute to remember those people existed. So, I guess fat still means you're an important person, but it generally meant like you have all the money and can afford food. So, it did used to mean that. And that was about it. I don't think you need to eat. If there was actually slaves, I guarantee they didn't eat very much. They probably didn't eat very often either. You think they actually bought slaves? I guess they do have the rule in the Bible and the master books following the master line after the Bible. Um, you have to take care of your mule. That's why you can't let him die. That's what the Bible says. You can't kill yourself because a slave cannot kill itself. They've been raising the slave forever. Um, if you want to, and anyone who sees what's going on understands that there's no purpose to being here because I've been here like 44 years and it's all set up to fucking fail. I go from like winning awards from the president when I'm 8 to running for president and testing to see what I can and can't do. And I have them kidnapping me all year long in 2020 alone because I'm setting up bait traps continually to see if something falls into that snare. And pretty much every time I set up a bait trap, maybe not every time, but definitely like the big times I remember, uh, something was interested in that bait I set on that trap. And the trap it wasn't even a trap. It was more like an examination. It's not a trap. It doesn't grab your leg and suck you in and be like, oh, baby, come here and kiss me with your manly man bod. It's more like, hey, I'm standing out here on the corner. Are you going to try to rape me or not? And oh, look, it's that type of bait. It's kind of like waving a worm. It's kind of like it's like waving a human in front of a human predator, a predator of humans. That's all it was. Literally, I asked to dance with other people to see. I asked to dance with people that didn't look like them to see if people who look like the people who had already been in my life who didn't need to be there at all and were the reason why I hate my life. Um, I wanted to see what they would do because it felt weird that people were in my life forcing their way into my life who I had no reason or want to be around. It made me feel nervous and wanting to kill myself all the time. That's a ongoing thing since I'm a child. I was like they started out the Christians, the little KKK worshiping my enemies who look exactly like them. Oddly, the people coming around, they were the ones drugging me and shit. And they were the ones taking me to the rape ritual and sacrifice, um, child genital sacrifice for their God. Oh, it's for God. It's for our father Jeffrey Epstein and his wonderful race who loves to rape children and prevent other people and bring people gifts who look like themselves when they in fact are not and act like themselves when they in fact are not interested that way. I have different standards for girls and guys. One of them is you have to be intelligent, and the other one is you have to fucking be even more intelligent, fucking, and better, and good looking, fucking. So, like, literally, and you can tell there's something weird here where they're like stalking us, and so they're purposely altering the life in a way where they send people. I mean, this last bitch who picked me up, like, Like I was walking down fucking High Street at like 2 a.m. and they just fight this like teenage looking bitch jumps out of the car and grabs me and fucking starts pulling me into her car. Like this is not even new, dude. Um, I was accepting of it for a while, but at this point in time, like I'm noticing, like I wonder if we even have anything in common. Like I knew that back then, but they were busy lying, and I was busy like they were busy using their books to tell me I have to let them in and not judge people, not act like I know right away people are lying, scumbag, pedophiles, trash who need disposed of. That's another thing that book does is teach you to let them rape you and let them. That's what church is for. It's for breeding fucking people who are gonna molest their children and shit. That's what circumcision is. And if you're a child and you get touched that way, humans apparently are real stupid and monkey see, monkey do. And even I do that sometimes, but I mean, look at USA. USA is the nation that mutilates male genitals. And they are the nation that introduced homosexuality to the world. And pretty much, like, that's what they say, anyways. And the other people were forced to hide it and shit because, whew. I mean, that's just, imagine, like, the average male having a man come up and hit on them. Like, back in my day, men would just beat your fucking head against the pavement for looking at them funny. Yeah, come up and touch them like their people have done so many times to me. Like they would have been dead if I acted like everyone else, and it probably should be. You probably shouldn't go around doing that to strangers. Women say men do that all the time, so apparently men just don't accept that in their nations, like the Muslims don't. That was their first. That was in the area of their first invasion. The Christian Bible wasn't invented until they hit Europe. After they left the Egyptian area, the first place they would have conquered would have been the Middle East. That what they keep saying in their books, but they probably went back to Egypt because they've already killed some of the Egyptian leaders after they forced them to sign a peace treaty and sent their people. They sent one of their females in to marry into the leader, non-Egyptian but American-looking person, to just paint him black and or brown, and they'll look Egyptian, like Howard Stern and Joe Rogan and everyone else who's any part of any of these empires except for Putin. I'm not sure about what's up with him there. It was definitely, his people were definitely slaughtered and taken over. That was like right beside Khazaria, and they're always bragging about Khazaria and trying to blame everything in the world on Khazaria. Yeah, at the same time, they're taking all your money to go support Ukraine, Khazaria right now. So, again, God chose them to have all land and rape all children and rape their way into all of our lives. It's the best thing I can figure out. And how many of us, like, I definitely feel like, okay, so half my family, like, was those people. The other half worked for them. And, like, really high up. So I suppose they targeted him. Because that one half was all about enslavement and worship of someone who looks like their race. So, and a bunch of lies surrounding it, and very capable of telling and celebrating all the lies with no emotional sign of care or worry at all, which also shows that they can emulate emotions that they don't actually have. But technically, it shows they can hide emotions, but they probably just don't have emotions. And therefore, if they don't have emotions, it means the rest of them are being emulated. Which makes sense because thoroughly testing people, I did. I mean, they forced me to be around them. They need someone to, shine their shoes or whatever. Go to the Barbie Wonderland with them and try out dresses with them and stuff. How people are into some shit. Go hang out with that gay people at the church alone in a room with them, doing things you don't want to do. We can only assume this is what they do to all their people. Drug them when they say do it. I don't think these other people are so stupid they can't make any decisions, especially when they look like them, because they're the smartest people on earth. Aren't they? They're fucking geniuses, and it's what the TV tells me. They're fucking geniuses. They're so smart. They're so smart they can come up with a million fucking religions and force other people to worship them as gods. And give them their baby penises and other labias and give them their entire lives, bow down and spend 80 years fucking enslaving themselves, working at McDonald's for them, instead of spending a few months fucking erasing them from existence. I must be real smart to come up with that. Other than that, the human race is just fucking real trash who is fucking willing to do it. But my experience in USA is everyone here, most people here look like them. There's a lot of new people like Elon Muskbergstein, pedophile extraordinaire, Nazi supremacist, God's chosen himself. He's talking about bringing in people from other nations to make them work and shit because they're smarter than him. So where's his brother Einstein at now that he needs a genius and stuff? It's because the only genius they have is lying. The only genius they have is going around and targeting and trying to kill other people who aren't their bloodlines, who fucking are geniuses. And trying to rape their way into her. And they're not trying to rape their way into my life to breed with me, because they always send sterile people into my life. Not that I have any problem. The first girl I was with wasn't sterile, but she was on pills. I guess that might apply to a lot of them, but they send people who are like permanently sterile, like they've killed and shit. Not that I don't let that bother me, because I mean, you're real trash if you bring children into this earth to be slaves to these people, to even experience a second of a world they've created. Or you are them. You might as well start raping it. Of course you do, if you're in these nations that donate their children's genitals to God. So, and all their money, and then force their children to labor. And you know what? Along with the Nazi doctrine, the church parallels that, because when you're a kid, you go to Boy Scout camp, and where they train you how to shoot guns and stuff there. So they're training you to fight wars and stuff, because the Bible is telling you to go and kill all these other people. And it's not being used for exactly what's being said there. It's being used, it's saying like one land is their land, but they've killed everyone and enslaved everyone who was left. So it's not really about that. Of course, if you ever pay attention to anything any of these people say, you would know they're not being honest with you. They're fucking using passive-aggressive threats to murder and torture you. Oh, but it's legal because they're saying it's going to happen after you die. But in reality, they're in your life already. I mean, if you're married, like, their people took me to church and tried to get me to keep going there on my own. They, like, baited me into going there Because when you go there, the aliens will notice you're there and why you're there if you're educated. I notice I go there and they start talking to me about these things. Like the sermons they give will be about, they're so chosen. And the sermon's never really about that. But I notice when I show up, it gets tailored. Just like a lot of things, these aliens are tailoring. Like the movie, the music in the movies. Like that stuff's being AI generated and shit. Fucking, how else do I walk through the world, the shit happening in the world around me? Some of it's my own decisions, and then I go into the movie theater and it's being auto-generated there. They're either like manipulating the world to mirror what I'm about to see on screen, or vice versa. So it's definitely happening. That way, and you can see like these are things like set up when I came here to happen and be in place. I didn't ever talk about these people worship the pyramid and stuff. Like they always show me their little pity stories when I was a kid and stuff, but they never, in church they don't teach it. Oh, we use the pyramid as our secret gang sign. You have to go to Mexico to see that the Spaniards, like the owner of, like Chris Columbus, who genocided the Americans. Anyways, I'm tired of this trash planet. These fucking humans have raped their way into my life and forced me around people I don't want to be around. And I'd like to do the same to them. I'd like to force them to have sex with people they don't want for their entire lives. And force them to be around the fucking dumbest, most fucking mentally retarded fuckers on the planet and keep them away from anything of value. Because they don't need that. Like, they need to be with their own kind and shit. Fucking... They need to fucking... That is their kind, apparently. It's people who force their way into their lives and rape them and have nothing in common but just keep them there as fucking pets and slaves. That seems to be what they like. That's what everyone I've met likes. Now, granted, there's one or two passive-aggressive people who I could only assume before I finally got to escape them, but shouldn't say it quite like that. Some people weren't as hard to escape from as others, or it still felt the same way. Like, man, this person acts like they're about to kill me. I should leave this situation, pack up my bag slowly, and not even tell them I'm disappearing. Fucking. But yeah, I've had these people like forcing their way into my life, lying to me from the very day they got with me about who they are in order to get with me, for the most part. And then a lot of people were pulled away and separated real freaking fast. And it's all got to do with a large portion of people who look like these Bible people. These gods upon the planet, all billion of them, with their deformed fucking mutant worship me faces. I mean, I guess, hey, who am I to judge? Like, if you ain't got nothing to offer the world, but all you can come up with is, I'm God and I'm gonna kill you and rape you if you don't fucking hang out with my sterile girlfriend. Fucking, hey, who am I to judge, right? The book tells me that. Don't judge people. Don't judge people who rape their way into your life. Don't judge people who force you to do hard labor when you're 8 years old for free. Don't judge people like that. Don't judge people who mutilate children's penises and touch them. You guys were real sick in 2020 with that anti-Epstein thing. Fucking... technically that's reality, because everyone was so concerned with that, but yet here we have a 6,000-year-old child rape fucking species fucking ruling the planet's gods, enslaving me. I don't give a shit anymore about any of the people who fucking exposed themselves in 2020, but they were doing it to me. So they were doing it to me. And that was the other part. I guess you gotta place some care you had over here in the new. We only got so much care. It's like we got like 1 to 10 intelligence stat points, 1 to 10 strength, 1 to 10 wisdom. We got 1 to 10 care, so we got to take some care points out over here. And we also got to take care points out too. Make sure we make the correct moves here against rapists and child murderers who are trying to set you up and have tried to kill you multiple times, repeatedly, and been drugging you your whole life and still enslaving you towards the last few days of your life. Still being the same trash, trying to talk to you. You don't even want to talk to them for your entire existence. And you say that out loud, and you know their little diseased fucking bot species is listening, because they tell you that when they generate new music and movies. Shit. Claiming that they're real people doing real fucking things. They know what they've been doing the whole time. Because I can tell by my thoughts inventing things around me and being responded to, that they know how nervous and how unwanted they were in my life the whole time, and how much I wasn't interested in them. Why else? I'm not a human. I mean, I think that's their people being sent in my life to be whores, to fuck me once or twice and then try to hold on to me for 4 years and never do anything again. I mean, clearly, with David in your name, it comes from the book of racial supremacy and colonization. So, there you go. That's where the name David, he's king. It's King David. It's not just David. It's King Rothschild. It's not just Rothschild. It's not just Epstein. It's King Epstein. It's not just Stern. It's King Stern. It's not just Marilyn the Hoe. It's King Marilyn the Hoe. Definitely with that Marilyn Monroe, because Marilyn Monroe was probably a man, because that bitch looked fucked up, but it's hard to tell. She looked like Howard Stern, and she had tits sewn on to her. Was it Marilyn Manson? We will never know. You know why? Because Earth hopefully it didn't exist back then. That would really suck if I come to a planet and it's like everyone on it is just working for the fucking enemy and shit for thousands and thousands of years. But we'll never know. If she had plastic, they probably drank her through a straw for vitality or something. Probably reuse the plastic, cut it out and put it into their Marilyn Manson probably used it for his tits and shit. I noticed they sent that to me when I was a kid. Like, these people, these Christians and their little masters have repeatedly trying to put me around child predators. Like, they start with the rape and the fucking mutilation ritual day one. The second one. At their rape, child mutilation, drug dealing hospitals. This pansy ass fucking Ku Klux Klan fucking worshippers. They got the Ku Klux Klan cross all over the fucking building. They even burned the fucking cross at the church I came from. It's got the fire right there, the fuck on it. It's called the Methodist Church. They are the original book. It's the fucking book of bloodlines. You don't need no damn Ku Klux Klan or Nazi. Why do you invent those words? Scapegoat, because the same damn book invented the same damn fucking word, and the same damn book is all about scapegoating and finding some cute limerick here and there to fucking say whenever you got something to say to shut some fucking slave up and put him down and tell him it's time to go back to work. This is my experience with them. for the most part. About one or two good people, maybe, possibly. I can't actually tell you. But I can tell you the other ones coming up to me talking about slavery. They're mutilating baby. One or two good baby mutilator fucking pedophiles. I've met one or two good ones in my life. I've met one or two good animal rapists. You know, I've met one or two good mosquitoes. Fucking, that'd be more likely. Like, oh, you had a pet mosquito. Oh, shit. Fucking, oh, wow. Wow, I didn't even know you could make pets out of them. Fucked up. No, it didn't. It just goes around sucking my blood whenever it wants. Oh, so you mean you just... You mean you like to have a woman kick you in the face with your boots and slap you in the mouth with a whip for sexy time, huh? That means you're probably from... Who's the one pushing that shit? Well, it'd be the people who conquered Germany and were showing me videos when I was little of their wet dream as the Germans blitzkrieged their asses and chained them up, and their sexy blondes fucking raped them and shit. Like, literally, they showed me videos of that shit when I was a kid. It's like, what the fuck are you people producing? This is so stupid. Bitches can't be that strong. Fucking, what the hell type of Nazi shit is that where you have some bitch smacking you? And turns out later in life I was being educated the whole time about who these fucking people in my life raping animals and shit were, and who the Ku Klux Klan raping their way into my life, preventing me from being around anyone who could possibly make me fucking happy. No offense to the guys who were all jackasses and clearly all related, but definitely when it comes to the girls, I know that shit's set up. We tested out, and we tested with the guys too, but I should be more pissed. But you know, I just wouldn't be pissed if I actually got with a girl, but I'd probably have a little army of me, and they have one. They have the AI generating them. There's more than one of me. I'd outnumber them as far as I can see. Fucking, they're scrubs. Fucking, and plus the game designs them all weak mentally and shit. They can't just go around cleansing and genocide. I mean, look, I'm not even dead, and these people have been putting water in my drinks and cutting my brake lines and destroying my car and doing ever since their child rape ritual mutilation, trying to prevent me from going anywhere in life, drugging me as a child, fucking targeting me when I get past that 4 grades and win awards from the president and shit. Fucking, at first they targeted me by passing me back down 4 grades by improving my school, and the rat person agreed with it. So she's a pedophile, fucking child mutilator. So delusional person. Lots of their choices were, I remember because I was the kid, lots of the choices I got to see were to use tricks and deception to deceive a child and manipulate it and then destroy its life. So, and trap it alone in a church with gay people, gay males. Not just if it was gay females, that would have been understandable, because females started liking me when I was. Let's just say people thought I was an adult when I was young. So that was the word, anyways. When people found out I wasn't an adult, sometimes I thought you were interesting. So. Yeah, we got a lot of this shit going on. We got this book setting it up, and what happens if they try to recruit the wrong person, and that person, they show everything to that person, they set them up as a scapegoat if they turn on him, and then they be like, oh, it's Satan, he was gonna save us, but then he didn't. And then they bring the alien people out on stage to perform some magic tricks, like David Copperfield. You know, they're all the aliens. Every magician is the alien. So, they are. Every fucking pedophile is probably them too. Every real one, fucking. I've never noticed the others invent a religion where they rape children. And I've never seen it. I've never seen a school shooter who wasn't them. I've never seen a child rapist who wasn't them. I've never seen a person who goes around telling people to worship them as gods who isn't them. They show that in movies all the time. They show black people fucking going around and be like, you got to worship me, cracker. But I don't see that in real life. And the only people I see going around telling me I got to worship him is the Bible people who need me to go, who are raping their way into my life. It just happened to look exactly like the people raping their way into my life so much that I have to test if I'm even allowed to talk to other people on the planet. And when I do, there they are, to make sure I can't talk to other people. I can't dance with people who don't look like them. So we have a problem on this planet. I don't think it's planet. That's our only hope, is that it doesn't actually exist and it's some fake game world. Because if it were really a planet, that means there's billions of robots on this planet. That the pedophiles, terrorists have enslaving a few billion people or less. So, place of trash though. It was great to live through it. Like literally every second is me having these fucking white people, wannabe white people with their fucking black hair, black eyes generally, and their Bibles, fucking just being their slave. I'm like, and the fucked up thing is I do it so well. I think it pisses it messes up their program. Like they're like, shut up and do your schoolwork. I do the schoolwork. I win awards from the president, and they're like, oh, fucking throwing this in the trash. And then they work with everyone. Starts working together to drug me as a child. Everyone in that school was at least a large group. I remember the remote viewing. And then obviously the people around me who worshipped the KKK, who actually writes in their Bible they're going to try to kill the person that who looks like me, and they have before. They try to kill everyone trying to get to some person who looks like me, which is odd because the book portrays it as those are people who are going to save you from those people, when in fact it is only the mentally retarded stepchild of the master race who does that. Just like the other 7 mentally retarded stepchilds that has Satanism, atheism, Muslimism, scientism, Scientology, free New Age, all the same damn rat-looking pedophile Nazi motherfuckers. See, I don't like that race because they're always going around. They're always owning everything, and I don't think their intelligence really warrants them to own or do anything. And they're sick predators. Every time they're there, what are they doing? Fucking drugs, and that's all we're talking about. That's all we're doing. And I had them like. It forced me to do drugs, throw my shit away when I said no. Fucking throw my clothing away when I said no to using their free drugs, because they're just that trash. That's all they're doing is going around on the earth and trying to be fucking trash and enslave the fucking planet. As if anyone couldn't figure that out from the very second someone told them anything about religion. There was some invisible creator fucking watching through the matrix. Those people wouldn't exist. there's no loving father who lets people rape you and mutilate you when you're born. That's the rapists and the mutilators making up these stories that you must allow them to do that, because one day you'll die and you'll go to hell if you oppose the Nazi 95-pound bitch ass fucking Nazi fuckers, white cracker bitches enslaving the planet, and any of their fucking minions, any of their fucking house fucking slaves. Fucking, that's real simple. The book's explaining fucking be a bitch or else you pay when you die. Let us do whatever you want. Because they're the pedophiles. They're the ones inventing the pedophilia. They're the ones training children to shoot guns to go kill and invade nations. They've been doing that for thousands of years. Every time Europe was involved in a war, whoever was on the church's side won, because you're on the fucking alien side and they're trying to kill your ass off and replace you. Fucking, those people fucking got it figured out. Not really. I mean, they wouldn't brag about the pyramid thing. Fucking, and they're scared little bitches, because there's clearly some non-existent players on this Earth thing who aren't humans, but they gotta be scared bitches lying and hiding about what's really going on here. Fucking, why else would they have to lie and hide that there's some non-existent fucking bots on this planet and shit like that, and that they're, why do they have to hide their pedophilia and child touching and Nazi supremacy behind a whole bunch of cute sissy stuff? And it's because scared bitch does what a scared bitch can. Whatever, I don't really know what it's like to be inside the mind of a scared bitch. But you can see it from the outside. Like, you get a gerbil, like a gerbil is like always scared. It's like running into the wall. You put it in a little glass cage and it's like, it's like, oh, freaking out. It looks like Mr. Bean and shit, which is one of them. He's like, running into the wall. And it's like, I don't know what it's scared of. Maybe it's on acid. Maybe it's all fucked in its head because someone's enslaved it and put it in a cage. I don't know if they act like that outside, but if they act like that outside, they're not going to live. How do they even exist in reality? Because something like that would just even a chihuahua would beat its ass and fucking eat it. So I don't see how and it couldn't run away because it'd just be like, it fucking reminds me of that shit, how they act. I mean, how the fuck are you even gonna go around fucking trying to enslave people and mutilate their children by being like, if you don't let me suck your child's dick, this evil guy Satan's gonna kill you. Oh yeah. He's going to torture you once you die. So you got to let me suck your child's dick and then go steal some land for me. Can you imagine if it takes that type of retard to come up with some bitch shit like that? What type of retard believes some bitch shit like that? And then goes and kills for him and recruits more bitches shit. So they have a different story to tell her. Instead of being like, you gotta give me a child's dick, because I'm God. I work for God. I need children's dick now. I'm going through withdrawal. My butthole's closing up. I need a penis. I need to become a priest. What the fuck type of shit is this? Is even allowed to exist on the planet? Fucking, I mean, hell, I value the Muslims and more than that shit. It just, once you figure it out, it's like, oh, at least they couldn't act like fucking sissies when they colonized those people. They had to come up with something halfway decent. It's like, hey, let's touch your wieners, children's wieners at birth, and it's like, we was gonna kill you, you homo. You ain't touching no men's dicks in our fucking nation yet, alone on children. And they're like, how about your females? Oh yeah, they're fucking stupid trash. Fucking just chop them the fuck up. Yeah, go ahead, you can have them. Fucking, go ahead. You gotta at least respect them for that. Fucking, that seems to be the, like, they drew the line there and something. Like, I at least respect that. That's a step in the right direction, getting rid of male genital mutilation, because the other people are just trying to enslave us. They're the gerbils running around like running into walls and like, yeah, be positive. My duck lips is in the way of my vision. I can't see nothing. Honey, you got that milk control on them tight chips. Fucking serious, dude. Like, I mean, those are the bitches fucking taking, as far as I could tell, like, that was the bitch administrating the book of fucking pedophilia and KKK. It wasn't no damn man supporting that Middle Eastern KKK bullshit in my life. It was the gerbil motherfucker and shit. But the gerbil motherfucker looked like a gerbil because they look like gerbils too. I must assume. I wasn't born looking like a West African. You know why? Because no one I know looks that way. I mean, no one I'm allowed to know, but no one in my family looks that way, right? They all look, there's some oddly suspicious looking Marilyn Monroe characters, Howard Stern looking individuals who worked in the media. They didn't quite explain, nor would I listen to them because they never said anything of value, but they sold their beautiful pictures as a kid where they look like Marilyn Monroe before she made her hair cover her face up and shit so she could look presentable, like a lot of them do there and shit. Shit, bro. Fucking. Anyways, I enjoy the rape and being forced to be around people I have nothing to do with, and I really hope that that gets paid back to this entire community. I don't see why I have to live through being forced to have sex in relations and be around people I don't like just because there's some sort of trash race out there that's so trashy that and the other people are so trashy they allow that to happen. I don't see why I should have to live through that. They're the ones who failed kindergarten. They're the ones who are so stupid that they're fucking slaves, and they're the ones who are mutilating children and raping children. They're the ones who are drugging children. What I do wrong is I tell them it's time to fuck off and die. Like, I didn't even used to tell them it's time to die. Although, you might not be able to tell that by my retaliation against them and their society, but they're the drug dealers, not me. I don't sell drugs anymore. Only people who support USA sell drugs. Only the cops sell drugs. Only the hospitals with the church symbols on it sell drugs. Only the churches support bombing nations' opium plants so they can increase their fucking drug prices in this nation. I'm not the terrorist here. But you can't be a terrorist. Can't be labeled a terrorist if you're the world's largest Nazi fucking cult, lying and hiding about who you are, and you're a scared bitch. You're a scared bitch. That's why you gotta write bitch books. That's why you gotta try to convince other people to be bitches with your books. Because scared bitch be sitting around thinking one day someone's gonna come fucking turn them into a jar of ashes and shit. Right? That's what I figure out. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like it's a preemptive thing. Just be nice. Oh yeah, we like just don't get mad with raping you. Yeah, don't get mad with genocide. Yeah, it's like it sounds like our group of murderers and rapists and child molesters. There's some real pussy ass individuals and shit. Fucking going around colonizing and enslaving the planet. Maybe they just sows intelligence that they really good at all that shit, child rape and mutilation and enslavement. But you know, I miss the illusion that the Italians were once just went around killing everyone. Yeah, the old school Bible. I definitely don't like this pansy child molester shit, but I don't think they can return because that's just too close to the days when they was Dindus enslaving the earth from the pyramids and shit. Because that's all they do. The mosquito hasn't learned how to work a forklift operator. The mosquito still flies through the air, breeds like fucking a disease out in the Florida fucking waters, and fucking it lives on sucking blood. It's a mosquito. It doesn't do anything else. Fucking, it's like the child molester. It's got to write a book telling you, oh, God chose children to be molested and shit. God chose us to molest children. That's why we do it. And we need you to help us help God. So donate. They call 1-800 Jeffrey Epstein is probably living inside a church inside fucking Israel. 5432. Just call them up, and they'll hook you up. Or you can buy. You know what you can do? They told me yesterday, just read your Bible 5 times a week, and so that way you can read 500 times. The master race is God's chosen race. They is so good, and we must go kill